Tropical Storm Ragasa likely to become a major typhoon near the Philippines. One of three recent tropical storms to form in the Western Pacific, Ragasa possibly poses the biggest threat. At 15.9 degrees north, 131.4 degrees east, the Philippine name is Nando. It is going to be heading towards the northwest, very close to northern Luzon and through the Strait of Taiwan into the South China Sea. At 8 a.m. local time in the Philippines, there it is right now as a tropical storm with winds estimated of 45 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour. Estimated pressure 997 millibars, moving northwest at this time at around 6 miles per hour or 9 kilometers per hour. The current position displayed more closely on the map here with its wind field. It's currently extending out just a little bit. It's a recently developed storm, but certainly that wind field is going to increase in size over the next few days. As of right now, there are no watches or warnings in effect. It is 784 kilometers from Catanduanes, 1012 from Santa Ana on the northeastern tip of Luzon, 10:45 from Chugagaro, 11:14 from Basco on the Batanes Islands, and 11:27 from Manila, of course the capital of the Philippines. The storm will be moving northwesterly, passing through the Batanes Islands, we believe, and then heading towards the Hong Kong region in the early part of next week. Well, the primary hazard is damaging winds because the storm is currently forecasted to reach Category 4 status by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center at least, as it makes its closest approach to the Philippines and Taiwan. Whether it will get closer to one of those or the other is still up in the air. Dangerous winds likely to cause damage in some areas, accompanied with very heavy rainfall which may cause flooding. 25 inches on offer if the storm does pass directly over any of these areas. Well, over the weekend, we expect this wind field will increase and that the storm will gradually and eventually reach a rapid intensification point over the weekend. And then by the time it gets to the Batanes Islands, it could be a Category 4 typhoon or at least a major Category 3, gradually weakening as it approaches and possibly makes landfall near Hong Kong. We currently have the forecast there having it just straddling the coast and rapidly weakening as it gets close to the coast of southern China and continuing westwards and dying off. 45 mile per hour winds right now is a little bit below the regional agencies, Pagasa and the JMA. JTWC a little bit lower, however, at 40 miles per hour, along with the NOAA and SSEC satellite estimates. So I think 45 miles per hour is pretty fair, and all of those other estimates are definitely in the ballpark. Here's the forecast from Pagasa. They're expecting a typhoon to pass between the Batanes and the Babayang group of islands and then continue into the South China Sea. This would be worse news for Hong Kong, probably, and then it would continue off in that direction. However, the JTWC forecast is calling for the storm to get pretty well there on a collision course with Hong Kong and taking it pretty much through the southern Batanes Islands on that forecast. Well, this is what the GFS model has got to say right now. Northwesterly movement at first, really strengthening by the time we get through the weekend, and there it is, passing very close to southern Taiwan. Actually, this is probably further north than what the forecasters are calling for. I expect other models probably have it further south as a result too, which is probably why they're going for that. But GFS parent model a little bit to the north. I did have a little look at the ensembles as well, which is generally what we base our forecasts on, and the ensembles are a little bit further south than what the GFS parent model is saying, so it's interesting to see that. This is the rainfall expectations, looking at a crude depiction of what radar might look like of this massive typhoon sweeping through. Of course, at the very beginning there you saw Mitag as well, Tropical Storm Mitag, which is about to make landfall in southern China right now as well. There it is at the very beginning, landfall moving inland. It is a moderate tropical storm, and then of course we've got Ragasa behind it. There it is, very much larger, very much powerful, much more powerful, and then sweeping the southern coast of China, Guangdong province in particular. And then taking a look at rainfall expectations over the next 7 days, of course, Mitag will already cause a little bit of rainfall there in southern China, around about maybe up to 8 inches in one or two areas, 200 millimeters. I always get those mixed up, but when you add on everything else from Ragasa, well, all on its own there in Taiwan, we're looking at very high amounts of rainfall, over 20 inches, 500 millimeters, and on the Batanes Islands, similar numbers as well, and also residual rainfall there over the central part of Luzon, including maybe even the Metro Manila region, 20 inches of rainfall possible in that area, although it'll probably displace a little bit to the northeast over higher terrain. Around Hong Kong as well, maybe 10 inches of rainfall there, 250 millimeters. Sea surface temperatures will be fueling this system very well indeed. Don't forget that these numbers read a little bit low because they're reading surface temperatures just above the sea surface, but SSTs will be very warm in this area, over 29 degrees Celsius, which is what those numbers are depicting there, 84 Fahrenheit, and probably one or two spots over 30 degrees Celsius as well on the run up to the Philippines, and maybe even one or two spots in the South China Sea. So in short, very, very much a hot spot ahead for this storm. Here's some satellite imagery then as we look at it as day dawns this morning on Friday the 19th of September. Himawari 9 satellite imagery showing this system is very broad indeed, a massive flux of monsoonal rain showers along its southern and southwestern peripheries, which are really starting to push into the Philippines now, Samar in particular. You can also see Mitag up there towards the northwest as well, really throwing some thunderstorms towards the coast of China and for Hong Kong there as well. But a close-up now on Ragasa. It looks like the center is partially displaced. I'm not sure quite about exposed, but displaced to the north of that convection that we're currently looking at here, which has been bubbling up throughout the course of this morning. Not particularly organized at this point, but it will be getting better. ASCAT passes were quite a while ago now, but they did find a very decent structure now appearing at the surface level, so it really appears as though this system is going to be well on its way, and it's a matter of time as to when we'll see that more structured certainly appearance, but also that real strengthening phase start on its way. Well, those cloud tops are really very high on that southern side there as well, over minus 90 degrees Celsius in one or two spots there on those hot towers. Wide shot again, looking at the blue marble imagery here. You'll also note that the angle of the sunrise there very close to the equinox now. And this is the Zaire imagery showing both of those storms as well on either side of the Philippine Islands, one quite a bit larger and more disorganized than the other. And this is the world tropics. You can see a 30% chance currently in the Eastern Pacific. Gabrielle, finally worthy of its name, with some convection blowing up. Up until now, we did not have it as a tropical storm, even though the National Hurricane Center pulled the trigger ages ago. And in the Western Pacific, we have three tropical storms, Mitag, Ragasa, and Neoguri, which is way off towards the east there.